Hi, and welcome back. This is week 3, day 3, and thank you for continuing to visit our videos. Hopefully, they've been helping you during this time and with the lessons. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to go ahead and start with reading language arts. If you're following along in your lesson plans, go ahead and look at page 17. That's where we're going to find week 3, day 3. Okay, and like always, I went ahead and put it up back here. So we're going to be doing the first one, which is word race. Now for this one, I kind of can only tell you what to do because it's kind of hard to go ahead and do an example because the child's not here, of course. So what you would do for this activity is that you would go ahead and tell your child, okay, so I'm going to put a minute on my timer, whether it's your phone or any other kind of timer that you have, and I'm going to put a minute there, and I am going to ask you to give me all the words you can tell me that begin with the sound, right? It doesn't have to be that sound, but this is an example, right? So you would set the timer, and he or she can go ahead and give you as many words with that sound, initial sound, of course. We're listening for the initial sound. So what I would recommend you do before this is, of course, read to your child and focus on those words whenever you're reading, and you already know you're going to be working on the sound go ahead and focus on those words, right? You're reading and you spot the word skunk. Oh, look, skunk, right? And show your child that word, and just so that they can build vocabulary, and you can prepare them for the activity, right? Because the more we connect things, then they will be able to understand it a little bit better. Okay, so then once the minute is up, you go ahead and stop. You count how many words they gave you that began with that sound, and what you would want to try and do is maybe the next day ask the same thing, give that 1 minute, and see if they improved, if their vocabulary or their naming improved. Did it go up? Did it go down? So it becomes a game, and it's a fun game and a learning game. Okay, so I really enjoy that activity, and you will find it on page 47 of your binder. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and continue with the next activity, which is label your home. Now, this is something we've done before, right? I went ahead and chose words that I can find in the house because I'm labeling my house, right? And I chose words that had vowel combinations. So those are very hard for our students, and they usually learn it in first grade and second. So this is a great opportunity to just get them prepared, and just show them that these words exist everywhere and they can connect it with things from home. So this time I went ahead and added some different words, right? Because now I'm going to take down the other ones that I put up. Remember, some of the words were television, door, toilet, mirror, and I think there was one more, chair. Okay, so I used those words last time, and now I went ahead and said, you know what, let's build up some more words instead of focusing on the same ones. So what you can do, if you still have those other ones up, you can bring them down, or if you just want to continue to just add some more, that's fine too. Okay, so other words that I considered were table, right? Because it has that final stable syllable that they will start learning in first grade, right? And then plates, it has that sneaky E that makes the vowels say the long sound. It says A. And then we have soap, right? This is different. It has that vowel combination. And this one, because it's just such a long one, and plus I know that my child visits this place, the refrigerator, quite often. Okay, so what you would do again is just put some tape on and start labeling your home. Now again, you can choose different words. It just depends on what you want to focus on. Okay, so this is label your home, and this activity is on page 50. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our story for today. So we're going to continue with the darkness, right? We've been working on Can You See in the Dark? And now we're going to go to page 90, which is Nighttime Investigation. This is also a nonfiction book, which means that it's going to give you a lot of details. But you can still do beginning, middle, and end. Remember that those three are very important when we're reading fiction, but from what you're going to see in this story, you can also use it in nonfiction as well. Okay, so in this story, it's about this lady called Lara Proch, and how she was, since she was a little girl, she was super interested in animals. So she wanted to know more about them. She wanted to know, where do they live, what do they eat, and how do they stay safe, right? So as she grew up, she started to get interested in kangaroo rats. I've never heard about kangaroo rats. So in this story, you're going to learn about them, because she's going to tell you what kind of data does she collect. Data is information, right? So she's going to tell you from the very beginning, what did she do? So she had some traps, and she captured these kangaroo rats, and then she went ahead and put a tag. Okay, so sometimes they put a tag on their ear, or they put it around their little feet, right? And what that tag does is that it kind of follows the kangaroo rat wherever it goes. So in this story, she continues to give us different information. She learns that these kangaroo rats are nocturnal. That means that they sleep during the day and they party all night. No, they go and look for food at night, right? So she went ahead and gave us some data, and then she analyzes it. She tells us a little bit more, and then at the end, she's going to tell you everything that she's learned about them. Okay, so what we want you to do is to go ahead and listen to the story, read it to your child, right? And they can go ahead and get their composition book, and then tell us what happened in the beginning of the story. What's happening? What happened in the middle? And what happened at the end? Okay, so even though it's a nonfiction book, you can still tell us what's happening throughout. Okay, so what we suggest is that as you're reading, stop, pause, ask what's happening. If your child cannot answer what's happening, then maybe perhaps we need to stop a little bit more frequently. That means read a few sentences, stop, instead of a big chunk. Okay, so this will get them used to them doing it by themselves while they're in class or when they have homework. They'll learn how to say, like, okay, I'm not understanding what I'm reading, let me go ahead and read again. Okay, but of course right now we're starting, so we want to ask you as a parent to go ahead and do that with them first, so that they can learn good strategies to make them better readers. Okay, so that is what we're going to do. Again, you would put in your composition book, you would open to a page and label beginning, middle, and end. Okay, and then go ahead and tell us what's happening at the beginning, what's happening in the middle of the story, and what's happening at the end of the story. Okay, so that is for reading, and it's up here in case you want to pause and go ahead and check out or read or document what it is that you have to do for today. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to math. So we're continuing with word problems. Okay, so now we're starting to learn how to organize our stories, organize our thoughts. We need like as children, right? They need a lot of visuals. They need a lot of drawings, okay? Later on, they won't need to do this, but this is how we explain it so that they can really, really understand. Okay, so here in our lesson plan on page 31, it says that the page you will be finishing up is page 213. But in all honesty, today's lesson is lesson 13, and it is on page 214. And we're going to continue on 215. Okay, so those are the page numbers. And again, I went ahead and wrote it out, right? So that we can see it a little bit bigger. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Mike has 10 cookies on a plate and 3 cookies in a box. He eats 9 cookies from the plate. How many cookies are left, right? So I'm going to go ahead and underline my information. 10 cookies, right, are on a plate. 3 cookies are in a box, and he eats 9. right? So if I eat it, then I no longer have it. So I'm going to put a subtraction sign. Remember, when we subtract, we're taking away. And we're taking away because if we're eating them, they're no longer there, right? So he eats 9 cookies from the plate. How many cookies are left? Okay, so if we didn't have this right here, they're giving us a number. You might say, but that number is not in the story. How did they get this number? So let's go ahead and work on the other part. So he said that he had 10 on the plate and 3 in a box. So let's go ahead and count that. There's 10, 11, 12, 13. That's where you get this number. Okay, so we started doing this in yesterday's work, right? We started to learn what to put up there, which is the total. But if they don't give you the total in the story, then you can use your pictures to find the total, right? But we're not done, boys and girls, right? We need to do the next step. So we have this, so it's check, check, and we even had a bonus because now we know how many in all, but that's not our answer, right? Because remember that he ate 9 cookies, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this one because I know I can take away from 10. I can take away 9 from here. Can I take away 9 from 3? No, right? So I'm going to go ahead and scratch them out. How many am I going to scratch out? 9, because those are how many he ate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so now I have crossed out my 9. Now to find out how many are left, I'm going to count the ones that are not crossed out. So I have 1, don't forget this one, 2, 3, 4. So how many cookies are left? 4. Mike has 4 cookies left. Okay. Now notice in number 2, they stop putting things or answers for you because they want to see, can you apply what you've learned? Not just in this one, but yesterday's work, right? Can you apply it to answer this, okay? So here we go. Fran has 10 crayons in a box and 5 crayons on the desk. Fran lends Bob, so she lent him. So does Fran have it? No, right? So we're subtracting. Fran lends Bob 9 crayons from the box. How many crayons does Fran have to use? Now, you might be saying, where did they get the 15? There's no 15 in the story. Well, remember that this gives me the total of how many she started with, right? And how are we going to get the total? By using the other numbers that they give us. So here I put 10 and I draw 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 5, because 10 are in the box and 5 are in the desk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Now I'm not done there. You can't say, oh, that's the answer, that's it, because they want to know how many crayons does she have to use, right? How many can she actually use now that she lent Bob 9? So she doesn't have them, so we are going to subtract. We're going to take away. How many? 9. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, how many, after she lent 9, how many does she have to use? Don't forget this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fran has 6 crayons to use. Okay? Now it's all coming together, right? It's all coming together. We're using everything we've learned, putting it all together. Okay, so this exposes your children for first grade work. Okay, so they'll be doing this, at least they have an idea like, oh, okay, I know where they got the numbers. Okay, so you of course have a number 3 on page 214. So if you can do number 13 and then page 215. So it's the same information, they just put it in different ways to see if you can apply what you've learned already. Okay, so that was math. Again, you can pause at any time, review it again to see if it's something that you need to go over because your child did not understand. Then you can go ahead and do that. Okay, but for now, we're going to go ahead and continue on to science. So for science today, we're going to be talking about mammals. Mammals are, of course, animals or people, right, that have hair, and they are the background information you'll find on page 313, and they are considered to be vertebrates, which means that they have a spine like us, right, and a backbone. Okay, so all mammals are vertebrates, and they have fur, right, or hair, and they breathe through their lungs like we do, right? And they feed milk to their babies, okay? And once they're born, they need mom and dad's help. They can't just be born and be left there. They need mom and dad, especially because they drink the milk of the mom, right? So mammals can also, some examples of mammals are, like I said, humans, right? But we also have zebras, cows, we have humans, and even ocean animals such as dolphins and whales. Okay, some people might be saying, but they don't have hair, but they're born with little hair, right? And then eventually it falls out. So that was just a brief little thing about mammals, but there is a Brain Pop Junior video on mammals that you might want to take a look at. It gives you a lot of good information, right? And what mammals have to go through. Now, it all connects, all our science connects because we've learned about different biomes, right? And how they use camouflage and everything to survive. So mammals are definitely an animal that has to camouflage and do different things in order to survive in the wild. Okay, so I wanted to show you some examples of some mammals, although I gave you some examples already, but I wanted to show you some pictures. Okay, so here is a leopard, and that is, of course, a mammal. Elephants are considered mammals as well. If you get closer to an elephant, you can see the different type of hair. It's a little bit thicker and rough, but it is hair in their bodies. Then we have the giraffe. It definitely has fur, right? And then we have some lioness, right? Lions down here. And tigers. Camels. And gorillas, right? These are just very few examples of what are some mammals in our world that we probably know about. So your work for today, boys and girls, is that you are going to choose one mammal. Any mammal that you can think of. Remember, keep in mind that mammals are vertebrates and they have fur or hair. They breathe through their lungs, and that they have to drink milk from mom, right? So think about those things when you're choosing a mammal and make sure that it is a mammal. Okay, so choose a mammal, and in your composition book, you're going to write on the top, you're going to write mammals. You're going to write mammals, and you're going to draw that one animal that you chose. Okay, after you draw and maybe color your mammal, then you can tell me what are some facts that you know about those mammals. Okay, what are some things that you know? Maybe tell me about their color, tell me about what they like to eat, what they do, anything that you know of. And if you don't, maybe you can ask mom and dad, and maybe they know some facts. Okay, some things about the mammal. Just write a few sentences about your mammal. Okay, so again, that was our science, and those were actually all our lessons. So again, thank you for joining us, for watching, and hopefully these lessons are helping. So we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.